Hello and welcome to a new video. For those of you who are new here, my name is Tasman and I make videos about my life on the Azores archipelago, sustainability, and sometimes also about books. September was the month of CLIMATHON. That is a readathon that I created to make a readathon all about nature and the climate crisis, because I think it's like so important to deal with sustainability, the crisis itself, possible solutions, and just the systems that are affected to get like a better feeling for nature. That's why I created the readathon. It went throughout the entire month of September, and this is my wrap up. In this wrap up, I will talk about the reading challenges first, and then I will talk about the extra challenges that were not reading challenges at the end. But before I do that, I have two things. Number one is please check out my vlog if you haven't, if you are interested to see how it was actually going for me, how I felt during the process, how the reading was going, how the challenges, also the non-book challenges went for me. Please check out that vlog if you want to know more. And the second thing is that I would love your feedback. No matter if you participated in the CLIMATHON or not, I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Like, is there anything that you really enjoyed? Any parts of the readathon that you really liked? Were there any things that you think could be improved next time around? Because I'm definitely doing this again. This was a lot of fun. That's what I'm already gonna tell you. Like, I will definitely do it again. But yeah, is there anything you would like to see changed? If you didn't participate, why did you not participate? Was it just the time, or was it something about the readathon that like was holding you back? So yeah, I would love to hear. I would love to know your opinions, thoughts, feedback, how it went for you. What did you read? Maybe you found a new favorite book. Like, I saw some people making some videos. I watched them and they look quite lovely. So I'm very excited that people were participating. But I would love your honest feedback about the good and the bad. Now let's get into the challenges. I will talk about the first two, fiction and non-fiction, at the very end, because that makes more sense this way. So I'm going to start with Revolution. For Revolution, I read How to Change Everything by Naomi Klein, and I think it had another author. Oh, I can't remember. I listened to it as an audiobook, so I don't have a physical copy. And I really enjoyed this book. This is a book that is directed towards younger readers, in the sense that it's like a guide through the revolution of young people in regards to climate change, more or less. And it's really well done. I really liked it. It was not a book that completely blew me away by any means, but I really enjoyed it, and I really think it has a lot of value. Also, I finally read a Naomi Klein book. Finally! The next row of challenges is animals, plants, and ocean. And I'm gonna combine these because for plants, I unfortunately didn't read anything. I didn't get around to it. I wanted to read the terrestrial guide of the flora of the Azores, but I read a little bit actually, because I did some research the other day about some plants that I had seen outside, but I didn't read the entire book, and I didn't read anything else that I could count for this challenge that like hyper focuses on plants. But for animals and ocean, I read the same book that counts for both, and that is Spying on Whales. Now that I'm recording this, I still have a few days left of the month, because I need to edit this and everything, so I need to do it a few days before. I still have a few days left, so I really keep my fingers crossed that I can finish this book before the month ends. That's my goal, that's my motivation. I would really love to see that happen. I'm about, I think, 40% into the book at this point. The beginning was a little bit of a drag. I was not very engaged in the beginning of the book. I almost put it down, but I pushed through the first chapter, I think it was, and after that it got much better, but it's not super engaging. Like, it's not a book where you're like, I really want to read more right now, you know? It's a good book, don't get me wrong. It's a good book and I'm enjoying it. It's very educational, it's super interesting, but it's not like a page turner in the way it's written. But I really hope I can finish this before the month ends. and I'm definitely counting that. The next challenge was Indigenous, and I plan to read, where is it? Braiding Sweetgrass, which arrived halfway through the month. If you would have seen the vlog, you would have seen. But then I realized that this is almost 400 pages of super dense script. So I was like, no, not for a readathon. I definitely want to read this soon, but not in a readathon. And that's why I ended up with an audiobook for the book of Sanak. That is like Indigenous stories, so it's fiction, kind of. It's like a educational fiction kind of situation, I guess. And I talked about this in my vlog because I can appreciate the book for what it does and what it's supposed to be, but it's not meant for me, which is completely fine. Like, I absolutely appreciate the book, but I didn't enjoy it, if you know what I mean. I will also count Sanak for the challenge of different continent because it is not located in Europe, and I live in Europe, so I can count it. And unfortunately, none of the other books are like specifically set on another continent. Like, most of the books that I've been reading like jump around a lot of places, and yeah, so I didn't really want to count it for different continent, but Sanak definitely counts. For the challenge of mental health, I read Why We Are Restless. And I don't want to shade anyone, I don't like being mean, but this was one of the most boring books I ever read in my life. Wow. I DNF'd it about halfway through because I just couldn't stand it. It was wasting my time. I'm super interested in why we are so restless. Like, it's a topic that's been on my mind a long time. And I should have been interested because I can't remember who it was written by, oh my god, the author, wrote a lot also about anthropology and the thoughts of anthropologists on that. So I should have been interested, but I was not. They were basically just quoting philosophers of old in regards to restlessness. And it was just like, yeah, I don't care what those people thought. Like, that's not really relevant for me in modern life with the internet, you know? So I DNF'd that book. But I remembered when I was preparing this video that in the very beginning of the month, on the 2nd of September, I read this book because this is my book. I read Welcome Home, Dear Soul, which I published in the beginning of the month on the 2nd of September. And it's like a poetic encounter with death. And to celebrate, I reread my copy, which is not the actual copy. Like, the gray thing here does not belong on the book. I just still have not received my copies because I live at the end of the world. So I guess you can count this as self-care to read your own book, which is a poetic encounter with death. So I think it counts for mental health, even though it feels like cheating because it's my own book. And it was a reread, obviously, because I wrote it. But I think it counts. I mean, I made the readathon. I'm making the rules, so I'm making this count. Then for the 2 remaining challenges, one is fiction. For that, I will count Sanak, because it is a fiction book, even though it's like, yeah, is it really fiction? Or is it like stories from the culture? Like, it's a weird mix, but I'm gonna count Sanak for that. And for non-fiction, of course, I can count a bunch of the books that I read, and specifically this one. This is Überleben. I talk about this in length in my vlog, so if you want to know my thoughts about this book, please check out my vlog. And I also talk about the title, why I love the title so much. And I really enjoyed this book. This is a German book about the animal and plant extinction and what we, or not really what we can do about it, but like it just talks about the extinction basically, and what the status quo is, and like which ideas are in the room to find solutions. And it was very interesting. I really enjoyed this book. That is it for the reading portion of the readathon from me. But before I get into the non-bookish challenges, I wanted to briefly mention one more book that I read that just didn't really fit in with any of the challenges. And I picked that book up because I actually had started it months ago and then I put it down because I hated it. And then this happened. This is the volcanic eruption on La Palma Island in the Canary Archipelago. So not where I am, I'm on the Azores Archipelago. We are still in the Atlantic, not super far off, but the Canary Islands are closer to Africa than we are. And La Palma Island has a volcanic eruption since a little bit over a week, and it's absolutely fascinating. My partner and I have this on like all day in the background because we just love watching it, and like we text each other all day like, oh my god, did you see that one? And it's pretty cool. I just love volcanoes, and it's also super educational to see how another Atlantic island similar to the one that I live on deals with the whole situation. Anyway, so I really crave the book about volcanoes because like I'm thinking about volcanoes 24/7 right now. So I picked it back up, and that book was Misadventure: My Wild Explorations in Science, Lava and Life from Jess Phoenix. I want to keep this short, but I have a lot of thoughts. I will talk about this book in length in my next Growing Roots episode, so look forward to that. I will talk about like why it was problematic and why I didn't enjoy it and what was good about it there. So keep an eye out for my next Growing Roots episode. Jess Phoenix is super badass. They are non-binary, pronouns she, they, and according to Twitter. And they are like a volcanologist and geologist, and the work that they do is incredible. And she ran for like a political office at some point for a few years ago for in the name of climate change to like save the climate, and they are so badass, okay? They went to a super formal event with a massive mohawk and a suit. Like, that alone is amazing. But unfortunately, the book was... it showed her personality, or their personality, in the worst light possible. And was so problematic and not very science heavy, and yeah. I have a full-length written review if you don't want to wait for the next Growing Roots episode and want to know why I had so many issues with this book and why I still devoured it. I will leave the link down below. Enough about the books. Let's get into the 3 bonus challenges, which I'm happy to announce I completed all 3 of them. The first one was to watch a documentary that like hits the bill with climate change or nature, and I watched A Plastic Ocean. Again, I talked about this in length in my vlog, but I really enjoyed the documentary. Then we have post something on social media about sustainability. I did that with my last video, you can check it out. I talk about what sustainability means for me and if I am failing at sustainability or not. And the last thing was the 1-week detox of something related to climate change or mental health. And I did what I promised to do, which was to have a 1-week detox of imported foods. And it was interesting. Actually, in the very first week of September, we didn't go to the supermarket at all. Like, not on purpose, it just happened that we didn't go to the supermarket for almost a week. I think it was 6 days. And I was tempted to already count that as the challenge. But then I was like, no, I'm gonna do this properly. And I did 1 week where we did buy things, but only things that are produced on the Azores Archipelago. Not even Portugal mainland, no. Azores Archipelago. And it was quite interesting to see because it very quickly showed where we can still improve in that regard. And the other interesting thing was that a lot of the products that we bought that were from the island are more heavily like wrapped in plastic than things that are imported, which is kind of weird because the transportation is not as long. But yeah, we didn't cause more emissions in that week because we didn't buy imported foods, but we caused more emissions because we used more plastic. So it was really weird. So I think things like that really show you that there is no right way to do things, that there's not like a rule where you're like, okay, I am not allowed to eat imported foods ever again in my life to be sustainable, because yeah, things are complicated. But that was a very interesting experience, and next time I do this I want to make another detox. Let's see what it will be. But yeah, it was very interesting. Showed me a lot of things and gave me a lot to think about for sure. And one last brief mention that I completely forgot when I was talking about the books. If you saw the vlog, you probably wonder where this book went, because I started it in the vlog. I read only a few pages and then I went back to Spying on Whales and to the volcano book. That's why I didn't really mention it, because I got like 10 pages in or something. So that is not in the vlog, in the video today. But yeah, that's it with my wrap up for the CLIMATHON. Thank you so much for watching, and if you participated, thank you so much for participating. If you have any vlog, wrap up, thoughts, whatever, please leave it all down in the comments below. I'm so excited to see all of your books that you read and all of your thoughts to the CLIMATHON. And yeah, thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. See you in my next video. Bye!